speaking of fuzzy Ohio State math, what is Terry McLaurin asking for that best you can tell that might be holding this up? Or is it the Commanders not wanting to meet potentially a demand to put him in the mix with DK and Ayuk and that range? What's going on here?
It's the guarantee structure is the main thing, and I think that it's
well, then that'll get hammered out, right?
I think so. I mean, I don't think Terry wants to. My discussions with Terry over the last couple of years, I know how much pride he takes in what they were able to accomplish there.
Heck yeah.
In large part because of what he got through to get there, what he had to go and going through the ownership change and the name,
sweat equity, man,
all the stuff. I know he took a ton of pride in the fact that I'm the one who stuck it out. I was here since 2019. I saw it from Jay Gruden to Ron Rivera to Dan Quinn. I saw the ownership change. I was the one who, I was sort of the bellwether through the storm. And so, I think he's motivated to stay there. I think he wants to stay there. I think the Commanders, if you ask Dan Quinn will tell you, hell yeah, that's the guy I want on my team.
Of course.
They've also become more data-driven under new ownership, which I think is part of the equation here, where it's this is this age of receiver. This is what happens with this type of receiver. Can we? And there's that sort of stuff that I think seeps in. Now, I would argue.
By the way, where do the Derrick Henrys land on that scale?
I know.
You know what I mean? There are outliers. There are
Derrick
people.
Henry is on a cheap deal.
No, but I'm just pointing out what I'm assuming you're driving at here is, well, he turns 30 in middle of September.
Yeah.
And so if we sign him to a deal where he's making DK
we're
Metcalf
going to regret
money,
this in 2027.
Who the hell cares? You got Jaden Daniels right now who needs him, and you need Jaden Daniels to keep going this way. And I don't care how many McCaffreys they can say is coming on strong, like apparently Luke is there. But I mean, what are we talking about? This is Terry McLaurin. We saw what he did last year.
Yeah, and here's the other thing that I point out on that. I the type of receiver he is. We all saw Larry Fitzgerald reinvent himself, right? Larry Fitzgerald played to what, 36, 37?
Yeah, he didn't want to go in the slot at all.
Right, and he reinvented himself as a football player.
Yes.
You look at Terry McLaurin, is he overly reliant on his physical ability? No. He's a great athlete, but he's not the type of, he's a craftsman. He's not the type of receiver who, when he loses a step, he's going to fall off a cliff. So even if he is 90% of what he is now in 2 years, because of the person he is, because of the leader he is, I have a hard time seeing a scenario where if the Commanders sign him to the DK Metcalf deal, which is the comp here that his side has tried to use, I have a really hard time seeing where the Commanders are going to regret doing it. You know what I mean? That's the way I've started to look at some of these deals for older players. Okay, are the Steelers going to regret in 2 years that they paid TJ Watt? Probably not.
Does it matter? But does it matter if you've got Aaron Rodgers? You're putting all your eggs in a 41, soon to be 42-year-old quarterback basket. You've got to do it now. What TJ Watt means to the franchise and the city,
right?
You have to and kudos to the Steelers for not dragging it out, making them hold in, making Rodgers and Cam Hayward and Mike Tomlin answer questions about why isn't Watt signed. Yeah. You don't do it. Just go ahead and make the deal.
And on Terry, I think there is this,
I guess it's easy for me to say,
and I think there's that element with Terry. And I think Josh Harris and Adam Peters and Dan Quinn have done a phenomenal job.
They know what they're doing.
Right, there's no question. But I think on Terry's side, there's a little bit of what the hell else do I have to do?
Yeah, right.
I'm not asking for Justin Jefferson's deal. What else do I have to do? And I think it gets done. I think cooler heads will wind up prevailing. But you can see his frustration in the way that it's interesting if you really look at it. First, it was a holdout. Then it was a hold in.
Yes.
Now it's a trade request. So you can see where he's like, I just want to get back out there. What do we need to do? What lever do I need to pull to get this done?
I wish I knew for his sake, because just real quick, best Ohio State receiver since Chris Carter?
The best one? Michael Thomas was pretty good.
Okay.
Right. Michael Thomas, I think he had the catches record, right?
But doesn't McLaurin have more longevity than him right now?
Since Chris Carter, You know
Who else we got? Who else we got?
you know who might be the best one in like short sample size was Terry Glenn. Terry Glenn was phenomenal.
Terry Glenn was good.
Was really good.
Yeah, Terry Glenn, like to me,
Just
was
trying to name it.
But he just didn't have the longevity because he had all the injuries.
Isn't that, and I know they're different ages. Isn't it kind of crazy? Garrett Wilson's contract might be messing with the McLaurin conversation.
Yeah, I know it is. It is.
But they're different ages. I understand.
They're different ages and everything
right.
else. I think DK Metcalf's the comp because DK is 2 years younger because McLaurin was a 5-year college guy, Metcalf was a 3-year college guy. But like to me, it's I look at the two receivers. I'm like, I actually think Terry might age better too, just because of the type of receiver he is than DK, because DK is reliant on his physical ability.
Well, DK's next quarterback might be next year, and Terry McLaurin stays put. He's attached to the hip of some kid that's on a launching pad and going nowhere.
Right.
I just don't even know. Can Terry McLaurin say at some point, you know, like you pay people for past performances? How about the fact I said nothing with Dan Snyder? I don't know if that means anything with the current ownership structure, but I mean that's got to count for something. Catch the Rich Eisen Show live weekdays from 12 to 3 p.m. Eastern on Roku Sports Channel in the U.S.